is up, Kryptonians? I know this video is a little bit late. It was supposed to be a couple of weeks ago when Last Night in Soho came out. I actually just got around to seeing Last Night in Soho, so my mistake. Last Night in Soho, which is a new horror film directed by Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright has directed a host of some of my favorite movies. I mean, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, everybody loves that movie. Okay, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't mention Baby Driver. I mean, you know, Baby Driver was good, I guess. It's just some of the people in that movie have not aged gracefully since that movie came out. So I'm sure you guys noticed the Dune poster in the background. Shout out to my buddy Renee for hooking me up with this. I have not been able to get Dune off of my mind since I've seen it. I've seen it a lot of times at this point, and yeah, I'm probably going to mention Dune in every video from here to the end of the year. That's just kind of how I'm feeling right now. So Last Night in Soho follows a young, shy, aspiring fashion designer who travels to London and goes to a college to obviously study more about becoming a fashion designer. While she's there, she moves out of her dorm and into a mysterious house with an old woman where she suddenly starts experiencing these dreams and these visions of another woman from another life. These dreams teleport her back to the 60s and she starts living through this other woman's life, played by Anya Taylor Joy. All of a sudden, these dreams start to become more like nightmares as more and more dark and messed up shit starts happening. Big mystery unfolds as she tries to figure out what happens to this woman, as well as what the hell it has to do with her current situation. I saw the trailer for this movie. I said, that looks like it's gonna be awesome. Plus, Anya Taylor Joy. I mean, I pretty much watch anything that woman's a part of. Edgar Wright is such a master of his craft at this point. He doesn't have his usual trademark fast spins of the camera in this movie and some of his dizzying angles that he likes to go for. And one of the things that can help a horror movie more than anything else is atmosphere. Edgar Wright understands that. He uses a lot of reds, a lot of blues, a lot of really darker colors to emphasize a lot of the terror that's going on in this movie. I also like the way that he transitions between this young woman in the present day and between the life that's going on in the 60s. He uses a lot of really cool camera tricks and CGI, and it really is a seamless kind of transition and makes you feel like you're immersed in this world. You're immersed in the 60s. It's one of those world within a world type of things that Edgar Wright is able to pull off so well. Also, another thing that aids this is the soundtrack. I'm not a guy that listens to a lot of 60s music generally speaking, but in this movie, that 60s soundtrack was banging, I'm not gonna lie. Thomasin McKenzie plays the main character in this movie, this young, shy fashion designer, and I would say for the most part, she does a pretty good job. The real star of this movie is Anya Taylor Joy. Anya Taylor Joy, even though she's not the main character, she feels like she is the main character at times, and you feel a lot more immersed, a lot more connected in her story, and a lot of that is due to the commitment of her performance. Matt Smith, I saw him and I was like, aren't you the dude that's playing somebody in that House of Dragons, the Game of Thrones prequel that's coming out sometime next year? I had to look up his name to make sure that his name was Matt Smith and make sure that I knew what I was talking about, but that's literally how I identified him in this movie, and he was despicable in this movie, and he does a pretty good job of being despicable. This movie does have some frightening and haunting imagery that it uses to try to convey a bigger point with its story. It's not just imagery for the sake of being scary or for the sake of shock value or anything like that. For the most part, a lot of the jump scares that are in this movie feel earned. They're not the fake, false jump scares. They're the ones that are accompanied by something scary that is meant to get you to move or to get out of your seat. I really wanted to love this movie a lot more than I actually did. As it turns out, this movie has a host of issues that I will break down now. First, a sponsor from Dune, and here as a courtesy of that sponsor is the Paul Atreides Funko Pop, which I'm actually not sponsored by Dune. I don't know, I just felt like I'm showing you guys. One of the problems that I have with this film is that a lot of the twists and the surprises that are built into this script are telegraphed almost 10 minutes, maybe even earlier, before you even see them. As a result, this leads to a lot of the big high impact shock value moments in the story kind of falling a little bit flat for me. There's a predictability and a staleness to some of this movie that unfortunately took me out of it for some parts. I'll also say that there are a host of really irritating and annoying side characters in this movie, and then there's like a really unrealistic portrayal of a side character in this movie that I just really didn't buy anything about the performance, anything about the character, anything about this character's relationship to the main character. Like, I just did not buy it. I heard that the ending for this movie was very polarizing before I saw it, and now that I've seen it, it's, yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. For the record, I don't hate the ending of this movie, but I do think that they could have stuck the landing a little bit better. They could have executed things a little bit more down the stretch here, and I feel like they kind of fumbled the bag a little bit. Some parts of it just feel kind of lazy and kind of contradictory, and some of it just flat out doesn't really fit the logical storytelling that they were following up to that that point in the movie, and it leaves you with more questions than answers. But for me, the ending definitely took the air out of this movie's sails a little bit. I'm gonna leave this one in the Daily Planet. Tell me, did you like the movie? What is your favorite Edgar Wright film? Put that in the comment section down below. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.